Welcome to the Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom podcast with Jacob Ayers, providing actionable content to help you along your journey to financial freedom through real estate investing. As the premier asset class, real estate has helped ordinary people just like you amass fortunes. The benefits of passive income from real estate investing will allow you to live a life you want. And now your host, entrepreneur, real estate investor, and apartment deal syndicator, Jacob Ayers.
Hi, and welcome to the Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom podcast, episode 63. You're listening to Friday Fundamentals with your host, Jacob Ayers. I want to thank you all for tuning into the show, and especially to those who have left ratings and reviews. I want to give a shout out to a couple 5-star reviews. Our first 5-star review comes from Defosh, and it says, "I'm new to real estate, and this is a fun and educational podcast to listen to. Learning a lot." Another 5-star review from Woljin says, "This podcast is not overly long and has a lot of great content. Great questions are discussed. Thanks." I really appreciate all of the 5-star reviews you guys are leaving. Please keep it up. Now, with listeners from over 25 different nations, I bring to you this week's episode of Friday Fundamentals. This week's Friday Fundamental is Rules of Thumb. Real estate investing is a numbers game. If you're just getting started investing or an experienced investor, you understand this. From analyzing deals, crunching numbers, and estimating expenses, to searching for deals, making offers, and closing, everything revolves around the numbers. We've talked about the importance of keeping a full pipeline of deals. If you've looked at, say, 100 deals, maybe only 50 of those deals appear worth analyzing further. Out of those 50 properties, maybe only 10 are worth making an offer on, and out of the 10 offers, you might only have one offer accepted. So that's looking at 100 deals to get one deal accepted. So let's look at some rules of thumb that will make your life easier when looking for and analyzing deals. One of my favorite rules of thumb is the rent to value ratio, or RV ratio. This is a ratio of the purchase price to the monthly rents. For example, if you purchase a property for $100,000 and the total rents are $1,000 per month, then the RV ratio is 1%. Most real estate investors consider 1% ratios to be a good rule of thumb. However, that number is highly dependent on your market and property type. Markets like San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Seattle will all be harder to find 1% RV ratios, whereas markets that are known for cash flow, typically cities in the South and Midwest like Memphis, St. Louis, Indianapolis, and Mobile, might be easier to find 1% RV ratios and perhaps even higher. The next rule of thumb is the gross rent multiplier, or GRM. This is another metric very similar to the RV ratio. It's a ratio of the purchase price to the annual gross rents rather than monthly gross rents. So let's say you take this same $100,000 property with $1,000 per month rents for a total of $12,000 annual rents. 100K divided by the annual rent of 12K gives us an 8.33 gross rent multiplier. This GRM tells us how many years it would take to pay for itself with gross rents received. Keep in mind, this isn't reality, as you will have expenses and a mortgage to deduct from the gross rents. Another good rule is the 2% rule. When analyzing deals, it's important to be able to estimate the expenses of a property quickly. When estimating expenses, there is a rule of thumb called the 2% rule. This is the income to expense ratio. So let's take our $1,000 per month rent. The rent to expense ratio of 2% will tell us that our expected expenses will be $500. Another way of putting this is your expenses will be roughly half of the total rents. So for the $1,000 total monthly rent, your expenses can be expected to be about half of that, or $500. Keep in mind that the expenses calculated in this number do not include your principal and interest payment. By using these numbers, you can easily assess whether a property is worth further analyzing with more accurate numbers. This will allow you to more efficiently and effectively analyze deals, leading you to more offers and ultimately more properties. So get out there, keep looking for deals, use these rules of thumb, and get some offers into some sellers. Soon enough, you'll have a real estate empire. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Friday Fundamentals. I hope you're getting value from this show. If you are, please leave a rating and review on whichever platform you're listening on. As always, if you have any questions or comments or want to hear something or someone specific on the show, reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me at www.jacobayers.com/contact or connect with me on Facebook at The Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom. Till next week, signing off, I'm your host, Jacob Ayers.
You've been listening to the Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom podcast, providing you actionable content to build your real estate empire. Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for personal advice. The opinions of guests are their own. Information is not guaranteed. All investment strategies have a potential for profit or loss. The host is operating on behalf of the Real Estate Way to Wealth and Freedom, LLC, exclusively.